everyone, and welcome to this week's PDH Deck Tech. I'm Joseph, and this week we've finally reached the WUBRG itself. That's right, all 5 colors. There are a few creatures that could act as 5-mana commanders, but if we want a true WUBRG creature for our commander, the only real option is Fusion Elemental. Fusion Elemental is an 8/8 elemental for white, blue, black, red, green. That's it. What we've got is nice and simple. A vanilla 8/8 creature. Sure, it's big, but it doesn't have any abilities. So how do we build around this? We actually do have a few things to work with. It's huge. It's an elemental creature type. And, most importantly, it's multicolored with all 5 colors. So, while it is tempting to just create a 5-color good stuff deck, we are actually going to take advantage of these subtle characteristics to create a deck that can only exist for this commander. First off, we need to fix that mana, and we need to do it regardless of the colors we have on hand. Fertilid and Smoke Braider are 2 great elementals for this, with abilities that can grant us whatever colors we need. If we don't have these, we can use colorless options like Armillary Sphere or Explorer's Scope. With these and also flexible lands like Evolving Wilds or the new Capenna lands such as Cabaret Courtyard, it won't be long before we have all the colors that we need. And this actually presents a unique opportunity to take advantage of the many land types we will have. Might of Alar will pump a creature for each basic land type we have, while Exotic Curse will shrink down an opponent's creature. Tribal Flames will blast any target for up to 5 damage, and Exploding Borders will allow us to ramp mana fix and blast an opponent for just 4 mana. As we're getting these land drops, we can also make use of the Expedition cycle of cards, with Cowley getting us 2 more lands, Aya Ruin drawing us 2 cards, and Soul Stare allowing us to recur 2 creatures. But once we've fixed our mana, it's time to start casting creatures. Brighthearth Banneret will reduce the cost of all our elementals by 1 mana. Muldrifter will let us draw 2 cards in entry and can be evoked for cheap. 2 other elementals that can be evoked are Wispmare and Ingature, which let us remove an enchantment or an artifact from the board. We can do some more consistent removal with Shinewind and Festercreep, using their +1 counters as fuel. We can resupply these and Fertilid with Sadistic Glee and Predatory Hunger, giving them a constantly refilling pool of counters with which to remove our opponent's board. In addition to technical creatures, we have other elementals ripe for swinging. Pyroceratops has Trample and will gain +1 counters off all of our non-creature spells. Soul of the Rapids is a 3/2 flyer with hexproof, making it pre-packaged with both evasion and protection. Orchard Elemental will serve as both life gain and as a strong creature we can swing with, and we can either swing with Scorchwalker or use its Blood Rush ability to pump one of our creatures. We'll be supporting our elemental tribe with tribe-centric sorceries, such as Distant Melody and Luminescent Rain, which will let us draw cards or gain life off the number of elementals we have in play. Caterwauling Bogart will give all of our elementals menace, and Thicket Crasher will give them all trample. Finally, Lavacan Brawler will get pumped for each elemental we control whenever it attacks, and Sunflare Shaman will be able to blast any target for damage equivalent to the number of elementals we have in play, though it will also damage itself. Now at this point, we've addressed the lands and we've addressed the elemental tribal aspect. Now we get to discuss the most impactful aspect of this deck, our commander's multicolored identity and how that's going to take us to victory. Here, we actually get to make use out of a full cycle of cards. These maze creatures all give additional keywords to our multicolored creatures, in this case, our commander. Maze Sentinel gives Vigilance, Maze Glider gives Flying, Maze Abomination gives Death Touch, Maze Rusher gives Haste, and Maze Behemoth gives Trample. Between these, we can give our commander any combination of dangerous combat effects or evasion. The combination of Abomination and Behemoth will be especially spicy, with our commander being an 8/8, because that means our commander will be able to trample over 7 creatures and still be able to damage our opponent. While these will be primarily benefiting our commander, we can still get multicolored elementals into play, with Elemental Masterpiece, which will get us 2 4/4s or create a treasure, and Resculpt, which we can use as either removal or a surprise creature generator, also for 4/4 elemental. While these maze creatures will be benefiting our commander because of its multicolored status, we can also use the multicolored status to activate another set of cards, Rune Marks. Here we're using 4 out of the 5 Rune Marks, Jeskai, Mardu, Sultai, and Temur, each of which will grant the creature +2/+2 and flying, first strike, death touch, or trample, depending on if we have the correct color permanents in play. And with our commander on the field, we will automatically have all of them. These cards will make our commander an effective linchpin in our deck, and it's no surprise that the 8/8 on the field is going to be our win condition. However, that makes it very vulnerable. We're therefore going to protect our commander with some of our favorite go-to protection enchantments, like Alexi's Cloak and Crown of Awe. We're also going to include some multicolor enchantments like Cloud of the Dominus, which will give our commander +2/+2 Shroud and Haste, and Shield of the Oversoul, which will give our commander +2/+2 Flying and Indestructible. Of course, 2 of our best cards in this deck are going to be Whispersilk Cloak and Protective Bubble, each of which will give our commander Shroud and Unblockable, and effectively put our opponents on a 3-turn clock. These Shroud effects are another reason why the maze creatures from before are so crucial, because their anthems will give us the benefit even while we are protecting our commander. Other cards that will boost our commander despite Shroud will be enchantments like Tavern Brawler, which will give us a pump and an impulse draw, and Flaming Fist, which will give our commander double strike. These will pair excellently with 2 other forms of evasion we'll have, Phase Dolphin, which will give our commander Unblockable, and Traveler's Cloak, which will grant land walk of our choice, meaning we'll always be able to swing in on the player giving us trouble. And don't forget, our commander is absolutely huge. We'll be taking extra advantage of that with Armadillo Cloak, giving him +2/+2 trample and lifelink, allowing us to simultaneously brutalize our opponents and also generating us massive amounts of life gain. And if for some reason we can't swing in, we can use Essence Harvest, which also ignores Shroud, to obliterate one opponent while healing ourselves and changing the course of the game with just 1 card. And that is my Fusion Elemental deck. It's here, the big Wooburg, and it's come to smash face. Despite its simplicity, the nature of this commander allowed me to make use of some cards that I would otherwise never get to use, or never get to use to their fullest ability. It can be tough to narrow down what cards actually make it into the deck, and I'm very satisfied with how this deck, and its many strategies, managed to bloom out of a single vanilla creature. This deck is going to cost us about $21. The deck list is in the description. I hope you all had a lot of fun with this series, and I'm very glad that I got to raise some awareness for Pauper EDH, a truly underrated format with a lot more hidden gems than you'd expect. Within this series, I think you'll find a lot of different strategies across a variety of color combinations. So whatever you're looking for, I hope I could provide a jumping off point for you. So get out there and start brewing. Remember, have fun, get weird, and don't break the bank. Pauper out.